Just briefly at the outset, I am still quite congested and sick, so if my voice sounds different, please forgive me, and straight to the video. Greetings, lords and ladies. As most of you know by now, if you have an interest in Pathfinder, you probably have found out that Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, is getting its final, last DLC in the form of a DLC called The Dance of Masks, and this is basically a farewell DLC in the spirit of the Citadel DLC back in the day for Mass Effect 3, which was a decent DLC to be fair, but I had my issues with it, and I personally think it's going to be a lot better than that. And if you're watching this video, as I said, you probably know about this already, and you're probably looking forward to this. This is seeing us off from the adventure of Wrath of the Righteous, possibly the most epic game ever made. Anyway, before we talk about what might be, it's worth talking about what we definitely know. So we are going back to Kenabres, a rebuilt Kenabres, in Chapter 5 of the game, meaning by the time you go back to Kenabres, whichever mythic path you decide to take, you are an established power and authority. You are the Lord or Lady of Dresden. You have achieved your mythic potential, meaning that this could lead to some very interesting possibilities and outcomes. Consider, for example, going there as a fully powered up Lich, which probably is what I'm going to end up doing since I never finished the Lich path and I have a current playthrough, or Zata or Angel, or perhaps most interesting or most disturbing, going back as the Swarm that walks. And if you look at the trailer towards the end, you can see there are those locusts in the end, there are those swarms, which implies, of course, that if you go back as the Swarm that walks, I guess you're just going to devour everything, since that's what you do and that's what you're made to do. There will be personal events for every companion you have with you, so it's going to be a very companion-focused DLC, as is reminiscent of the Citadel DLC for Mass Effect 3, which was very companion-focused. It was about Commander Shepard and him making the best of his time that he has left with his companions, and the same thing is true of the commander of Dresden in this case. He's going to be spending time with the companions, and on top of that, they are all fully voiced. All dialogue in this DLC is fully voiced, and it's hard to say where Owlcat got this inspiration for this particular edition in this DLC. It could be that they observed the success of Baldur's Gate 3 with the fully voice-acted lines, or it could just be that they think it's a neat thing, and given how well they've done with Wrath of the Righteous, they've made good money, why not, right? I honestly like both. I like written characters that you have to read. I also like voice characters. It's different, but I can appreciate both aspects of both things, so no problem there. But for a lot of people, this is going to be a good thing. And if you're into romance, there will be a new major romantic event with every romanceable companion. Romance is not my bread and butter necessarily in games, but nonetheless, it's something to be appreciated. You also will be in an otherworldly arena where you can test your might against some truly mythic enemies, we're told, which, seeing as how you're at the top game of your power in Chapter 5 and you're going back to Dresden, that could be pretty interesting. And something that I always look forward to is new archetypes. And recall, if you can, in the previous DLC, The Lord of Nothing, they introduced new archetypes. Indeed, some very interesting ones, and some that have basically no basis in Pathfinder, which are homebrew, which I thought was quite interesting, because there are a lot of homebrew archetype mods out there. Anyway, this is definitely something to look forward to. There will be a new weapon type, a completely new weapon type, which could matter if you think about it. A weapon type with a high critical threat range could be very interesting, because everyone loves their crits. And there's one other thing about switching your grip on the weapon from one-handed to two-handed, but I think that specifically applies to this weapon, because you can already kind of do that with normal weapons. You can wield a longsword with two hands and get greater damage, or you can wield it with one hand, and so on and so forth. That applies to a lot of weapons, obviously, but it basically seems very cool. I'm looking forward to it. Wrath of the Righteous is definitely in my top 5 games of all time, simply for its sheer epicness, possibilities it offers, the length of the journey. I just love the game. And Wrath of the Righteous was good enough to inspire me to go back to an originally somewhat disappointing run with Pathfinder Kingmaker and enjoy that to varying degrees. So this is a big deal. Anyway, if you like my videos, you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. It's much appreciated. And thank you regardless. Until the next time, take care.